And Blurring the Lines podcasts.
I want to say it was not a merger, it was a hostile takeover, and I'm not feeling the love because I got laid off immediately after the hostile takeover.
Spoken like someone who used to work at Monolith 3000. Yes, this is the Blurring the Lines podcast, episode 227, and also Friends with Brews, number 84. I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis. With me, as always, my co-host, Adam Bell, and with me, as most of the time, my co-host, Scott Wilsey.
Hey, Peter.
Scott, hello.
First, you bring up your big number and wave it around in front of everybody. And then you say most of the time, sometimes, when I can be bothered.
Well, when I can be bothered, you mean when I'm not being replaced by an AI cheap imitation motor oil drinking copy of me? Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what I mean.
The AI overlord saw me sitting there waiting, wondering, where's Peter? Why can't Peter play?
Did you replace him with one where you just typed it and then there was a head moving like that looked like Peter that was talking?
Oh, that would be great. No, because I actually haven't. I created a YouTube channel for Friends with Brews, but it's just going to be the audio with the FWB logo. I'm not going to have our mugs up there.
Yeah, one of my clients, they were asking me to look at billing things that they bought. So one of their employees bought this AI tool, and it actually looked pretty cool. You recorded yourself like Siri, or you know how you do your head and all that. You record, you do some talking, and then all you have to do is submit your text, and then your head starts talking and blinking and expressing, and it's not as bad as you might think.
Can you make it spin around and bazooka barf like The Exorcist?
I don't know.
By the way, speaking of AIs and voice generation, Peter, I have canceled my 11 Labs. I was about to say prescription. I have canceled my 11 Labs prescription delivered to my door once a month because, ooh, look at you. Because
Stella Artois.
They don't want you to impersonate celebrity voices now. So like you can't make a Donald Trump voice, you can't make any, but you also almost can't make any voice. Even if it's like somebody they don't know, like if I just upload a voice from some random person, it goes, oh, you need to verify that this is your voice. And then it has you record your own voice. It basically now has gotten to the point where it only lets you clone your own voice. And I'm like, why would I do that? I can record myself for free. I don't need to pay you guys $5 a month for the honor of that.
Interesting. So, I remember you had mentioned that, and I hadn't looked at it since then. But that's
I don't
pretty much
think
a
they
deal
intend
breaker
it to
for
be
me.
that harsh, but it is that harsh. For sure, they mean to block you from using voices that they know, like that anyone would know. I don't know how. So anyway, I don't know. Anyway, big disappointment.
So is that an NIL deal? You can't do that.
NIL.
Near image likeness, or
I don't know.
Like the football players.
I think they probably just don't want lawsuits or something.
Yeah, it's interesting that 11 Labs is taking that hack when everybody else, like ChatGPT, OpenAI, Google Image Generator, have all just like gone off the rails with their image generation, saying,
yeah, but those guys
hey,
also have
do whatever you want.
I figure those guys have not only stolen the entire internet so far and gotten away with it, but they also have more representation than 11 Labs. 11 Labs is undoubtedly a smaller company than OpenAI, and OpenAI has already dared the world to sue them anyway. So
I think they didn't. I don't know if it was dare. I think it was just like, no, come at us, bro. Right?
Yeah.
we're waiting. Come sue us, please. Yeah, I mean, you think about that though. The Metas, the Googles, the OpenAIs are, in bed with the current administration. I think they're like, yeah, we're good. And the Grocks. Don't forget the Grocks.
I don't want to picture any of those people in bed. You know what's really sad? About
someone's
the word
already
Grock?
done that for us. They already did
that
for us.
You know what's sad about the word Grock, which is the Elon Musk AI, which, by the way, might be Elon Musk himself. But anyway. It bothers me because it reminds me of that security guy Grock, and I like Grock, the Grock or whatever his name is. And every time someone says Grock, I think they're talking about Grock, and it makes me sad.
You know what's funny? I did, because I heard Grock and I had to look it up what it was, and apparently Elon had created his own chat channel before Twitter, and he called it X, and it didn't get anywhere.
Right.
So then he ended up buying Twitter. He bought Twitter and then named it X. It's like he couldn't do it on his own.
Yeah,
you know what's
he
really
likes
sad?
X everything. Space.
Yeah,
X,
he's been
Elon
doing that
X,
forever. Yeah.
Ex-wives.
Ex-wives, yeah.
Ex-children. He denounces them if they don't subscribe to his exact political views. Which, by the way, is that the point of having children? Is to replicate and program your views into them, or is it that they're actually their own separate human beings who can decide?
Yeah,
things for
no,
themselves?
I thought the whole point was to get more votes. For
right.
those few that you can't buy.
That's true.
Hey, before we go on, we should tell everybody what we're drinking, because this is an episode of Friends with Brews.
Yeah.
Oh,
so we have to have some brews.
Oh, does Peter have something besides water?
Peter has a nice piping hot cup of Taylor's of Harrogate's. I forget the name. Darn it, now I gotta look it up. See what you did to me.
The Pirates of
I
the
am drinking
Taylor's
Taylor's
And
of
Sands?
Harrogate. Is that
Okay,
what you want
start
to say?
over
I
and
gotta
say it.
yeah.
Say it from beginning to end.
Taylor's of Harrogate. It's a proper English tea.
Okay, got it.
It's Yorkshire. Thank you. Now I can remember. It's their Yorkshire red tea. That's what I'm having. And the slogan on the box says, "Let's have a proper brew." So I'm having it, and I'm having it proper, like an Englishman would have it, with
hold
lemon.
on. I have to send a message to an Australian man. Dear John, Peter couldn't be bothered to have an actual brew when you were on, but he's having one now. Love, your friend, possibly an AI.
Just make sure you send it as a direct message and not as a group chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, whoops. It went to Pete Hegseth, and he sent me, I don't know.
That's okay. He'll be joining the podcast any moment now.
He sent me a member photo in response. Actually, he sent me a picture of his bottle, whatever he's drinking. Okay, Adam, what are you drinking? You're drinking from a bottle. It's not a Pete Hegseth-sized bottle, but it...
Yeah, I like Stella Artois.
Oh.
So I went into the big metropolitan area of Lobelville, and
it sounds huge.
It sounds huge. and I perused the beer cave, and I like Stella Artois. So they had other things, but mostly the non-domestics, which are pretty domesticated non-domestics. But I like this, and it's got a fancy top and everything. So
it does have a fancy top.
So there are no rat droppings on my top.
What?
That's fancy.
Is that a thing? Have I missed something?
Yeah, like when you drink beer out of a can, you don't know what's been dropped on the top of that can.
Yeah. I know. I joke with my wife that whenever I see her drinking anything out of can, I'm like, why don't you just drive around and pick up and throw it in the bed when you're done? I mean, I don't drink anything out of cans. It goes in a glass.
I mean, that's better than just throwing it out the window.
Yeah.
It's true. I used to work with years ago when I started at Monolith 3000. There was somebody whose their pickup truck would be in the parking lot, and the beer can pile would just be slowly getting higher over the months. Yeah, exactly.
Where
they're just driving down the road, tossing them in as they go.
That's how you get good at drunk driving, is when you get done with your can, if you can still drive, and toss it out the window and it goes back in the bed. I mean, that's a thing.
It is. I've done it.
Yeah, but
not with beer, but with pop. Yeah, and the wind. That's the funny thing too. Is I was like, how do they keep those in there? Because when I threw a couple Diet Coke cans in the back, and they blow up behind the back window. Yeah, and they almost go out, but then they come swooshing back up behind the back window again. And it's like, how do they keep those in?
Is that a Dodge, Ford, Chevy thing? Like, is one of them going to be better engineered to keep the cans down?
I don't know.
I think Ford's the best. They've got the best kind of slipstream that's happening there.
Well, this was the old square Ford truck. There's no slipstream. It's just a brick ramming through the air.
There's no slipping.
Yeah, there's no slipping.
The stream goes around it and sucks it back to you.
Could be, yeah.
Oh, man.
And fittingly enough, it was Budweiser cans, so that pretty much worked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that goes without saying. I suppose it could be Miller Lite, right? So I had an interesting experience a couple of days ago. Now, this is really funny. And it just goes to show that when it comes with any sort of marketing efforts...
What about my drink, Peter?
man, you can take all day. I mean, like, okay, fine. Let's hear about what you're drinking, Scott. Then I'll wait. And then I'll get to my story.
I'm so sorry that I wanted to participate in the drinking part of this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm having a Forecast Coffee Company, Yonder Coffee. And this coffee is dark chocolate with roasted nuts. And I don't want to go down the roasted nuts rabbit hole. But what?
But you just did.
But it's good. I taste them. I taste the I taste the roasted nuts. And I taste the dark chocolate. Peter, it's your fault. You did this. You line blurring. You nut job blurring. You nut blurring. I don't know.
We got to be careful to the bleep.
Yeah, we got to be careful of the bleep, but we also got to be careful what we blur on the video portion of this podcast. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, that's what I'm having. It's good. I like it. It comes in a yellow bag. You can get it at Fred Meyer, which you guys don't know about because you live in inferior parts of the.
Okay, so Scott's nuts come in a yellow bag. Got it.
So do you put any sugar or creamer in there? All natural?
No, and all black. And as I've stated to Peter, my drinking methodology for drinking something on Friends with Brews is I won't put anything in it because I want to be able to say whether or not I taste what they say I'm supposed to instead of tasting oat milk or whatever. Now, earlier today, I had a cup of this with oat milk in it. But right now I'm drinking it black and I like it. That's how I usually drink my coffee anyway. If I can't drink it black, it's not coffee that I want to buy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I usually do that same methodology, right? Because I want to taste what the coffee is that I'm drinking.
Yeah.
But often, like if my first sip, it generates like a shudder and I'm like, ugh. That's where like add a little cream. And if that doesn't work, add a little sugar. And if that doesn't work, throw it out into the compost pile.
Wait, Peter, you're blurry. Oh, now we lost you. Oh.
Yeah,
there you go.
The camera.
Peter was trying to be the blurred roasted nuts.
So back to my story.
Okay, we were on a story. I can't remember, but I know it's funny.
Well, that's because it's my story, right? So as with everything marketing, it's a numbers game, and I'm sure Adam, you get this, right? Because you can't just have a marketing campaign of one letter and hope that you're going to get a response, right? And if you're in sales, you don't just dial for dollars, make one phone call, and boom, we're done for the day. Okay. Spam and phishing are no exceptions. And so here's the thing. Now, this was like the perfect storm too. This was really interesting. I got an email purportedly from one of my old schoolmates. She was, I think, a couple years behind me when I went to school up in Vermont. Who worked at the town offices. And it said, I forget what the subject line was, but I got an email from the town office, from the subject line, and it was her name. And I recognized that. I was like, okay, interesting. And the email just said, do you have a question? Sorry to bother you or whatever, but do you use Amazon? And I was like, that's a weird question. But coincidentally, the day before, I had placed an Amazon order and had it shipped to my contractor up in Bethel, Vermont. So I thought maybe they couldn't deliver it. Maybe they stopped at the town office for some reason. Maybe, because it's a small town. Stuff like that happens. It's like, where do you leave it? Oh, well, leave it with the Richardsons down by their tractor, or, leave it at the old farmhouse where the tractor used to be, like that.
If he's on the tractor, leave it in the back of his truck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With the beer cans.
Oh, full of beer cans. So I thought, that's really odd, but I wonder if that's what's going on. So I'm like, so I reply without giving too much. I was like, yes, I do. Right. Because again, I didn't want to give away too much information, but I also was like, yeah, this is a typical small town, not very forward thinking type email. Like, do you use Amazon? I asked because I think I have a package of yours. That'd be way too much effort. Right. So that's where I went with that. So I just replied that I was like, yes, I do. And that's all I said. She said, oh, okay, good. Well, I was just wondering, can you help me buy some gift cards? And I was like, so I picked up the phone and I called the town office.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hi, I was just wondering, is so-and-so there? I was like, oh no, she doesn't work here anymore. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. I'm calling because I think your email account has been hacked. Yes, we've been hacked. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Yes, we did, but it's been cleaned up. We fixed it this afternoon. I was like, okay, well, when? Because it was like 2:00 and the email came at 1:10.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So no, we just fixed it. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. I was like, I mean, I got the sense this person I was talking to wouldn't really know what was going on anyway, so I'm not going to belabor it. Oh yeah, fine. Come to find out, I still have my dad's old email address functioning because every now and then I still get a relevant email sent to that. I checked in his email and he had the same one. But the interesting thing was now is the town office, they generally use a Comcast.net address as their main. The thing that set me off first was the email came from the town office email at outlook.com. And I was like, that's a little weird. But the one that went to my dad came from Comcast. So it seemed to me pretty clear they hacked. I don't think either they used the same password across multiple machines or multiple email accounts.
No one does that, Peter.
No, I know. I know that. Well, maybe in Bethel. Or the computer itself got taken over and, they just started doing a spray and pray like that. But I thought that was very funny. But again, under normal circumstances, I would have just like, this is a scam, right? But it was the perfect timing because I was like, did those door handles that I had sent to my contractor get dropped off at the town office for some reason?
See, this is how it happens to people. Cory Doctorow got phished this way. What's the Have I Been Pwned guy? Troy Hunt got phished that way. You're busy doing something and you're on a trip or something and they send something that seems relevant to something you might need to do and you just do it in a hurry and the next thing you know.
Well, so luckily this time I did not, I did take the first bait. I was just like, yes, I do, but I didn't give them any info.
See, Adam,
I was so close to running down to the drugstore to buy some gift cards.
If it would have just said hot singles in your area, Peter would have answered, but it said hot 90-year-old singles in your area, and he was like, no, too 60 or 70, maybe.
What's funny? I had Coinbase emailed me this morning, and they were saying, "Oh, we've got an agreement update. Click here to read the agreement update." And I'm like, "Well, I haven't dealt with Coinbase in 8 years," and I figured, "Oh, where they're sending the email to my old Sublime account, I'm gonna unsubscribe." There was no unsubscribe in the email. Like, well, y'all suck in your marketing. So I actually meant to hit send it to my other inbox and always send it to the other inbox because I don't care, because I don't use Coinbase anymore. But I accidentally hit phishing and it sent it to our company filtering team. And they're like, yeah, good catch. This was phishing. I'm like, really? It looked, I mean, I didn't click anything in it, but it just annoyed me because I was like, I don't have Coinbase anymore. But they knew that I had Coinbase at some point because it didn't even originate from them.
Interesting.
Or
I don't
could have been random.
It might have been, but I don't trust Coinbase to tell anybody if they got hacked.
No. Yeah. Good thing all my Bitcoin is not there anymore.
all your ex-Bitcoin live in Texas, or what's
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so what I was doing, sorry for being late, by the way.
Oh, that's okay. Peter just didn't tell me.
Oh, well, yeah, because
he told you.
So I have contractors down here, and where I live in Lobelville, I mentioned the metro area. It is very, very difficult to get anybody to do anything, and it really doesn't even matter how much money you offer them. They're like, "Oh, no, it's too far." I'm like, "I will pay you $1,000 a mile to go out of your way to go out there." No, it's just too far.
To the farm.
To the farm. And it's 90 minutes outside of Nashville. I mean, Peter does that every weekend to go to Vermont. I mean, It's just not that big a deal. But
So you're gonna say when I go for a run.
yeah, Peter goes for a 90-minute run. I mean, that's nothing. So
he runs to your lavender farm.
yeah. So the storms that came through, we washed a lot of bank out. We got 12 inches of rain in Lobelville. We only got 6 in Nashville, but we got 12 here. So it really eroded our bank. And I called him on Monday, and he's like, yeah, I can come out tomorrow. Like, well, come on. So he was finishing up, and he was pulling together my bill for me, and it's amazing. I'll send you guys pictures. It came and eroded into my field probably 15 feet.
Wow.
And so he backfilled with the sediment downstream, backfilled into that, and then covered it with riprap. It's unbelievable how good of a job he did. And so I was out there talking to him and finding how much it was going to cost and pay him, because I didn't want to inconvenience him in any way, because I'm sure it would go up in price.
And you may never get anyone out there again. Did you lose any usable field or any plants or anything?
No, I didn't lose any. But long term, if I just let it go, I would eventually. But yeah. So we were fortunate in that, but I lost trees. So I'm gonna have to come back with. So we're gonna mitigate that with bamboo. Bamboo's really good against flooding. Willow is the next best thing, because willow is a fast growing water tree, and bamboo is a fast growing water grass. But bamboo is sometimes considered a pest. People don't want it because it just grows and grows.
It does, yeah. It gets out of control.
But we've already got bamboo here,
and it grows fast.
Yeah, so we could put it down. We could transplant it this spring and have a grove of it by next spring.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, farm. You know how you make a small fortune in farming?
Same way you make a small fortune in food service.
Yes.
Start out with a big fortune.
So you're paying for the enjoyment of being a farmer. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, right now it seems to be.
Peter, there he goes again.
Yeah.
You got to quit role playing blurred roasted nuts.
I'm going to blame you the next time you have audio issues.
What camera do you have, Peter? What are you using for
this
a camera?
This is a Logitech. The Logitech HD 1080p Logi something.
That's exactly what I have.
Yep. The C920 is the model number.
Nice. Yours is more movie than mine. Like it moves a lot.
Movie.
Peter's a movie star.
All right. So should we go into it seemed like I had started putting together a big long list of things we were watching. And it seems like there was a little bit of an opinion on at least one of the shows that Scott and I and Adam have all at least partially watched.
And so you liked it? I mean,
yeah. So
okay.
Listeners,
elaborate
and
on
listeners at this point, listeners, right? Because now we might have one on the Blurring the Line side and one on the side.
Scott's going to listen to both podcasts, though.
Yes, because one is going to sound a lot better than the other.
Yes, it will.
So we're talking about the Apple TV Plus series known as Dope Thief, which is on to, what are they, episode 6?
I think we just watched 6 last night, yeah.
Right. So, and I did try to watch it last night, but it was I think it comes out at like 9:00 Eastern time or so, and I wasn't watching TV by the time that I was watching a movie at that point. So, but yeah, Dope Thief. I am liking it, Adam. It is. It's interesting. It's a story about. I mean, they give this away in the trailer, right? It's about a guy, apparently a couple guys, but one's the main character. What they do is they go around robbing small-time drug dealers, pretending to be DEA agents. So they show up and they say DEA, and they, like hold everybody up, walk away with the cash, and then leave. And then they do something where things go wrong, and they hit the wrong house, and it gets interesting from there.
They listened to a complete drug addict when he suggested that they hit a specific place. And there was a reason he came to them with that, which is revealed later, but it wasn't accidental, let's put it that way.
So it does get better, because my initial impression was, okay, we know they've got a, I mean, like you said from the trailer, we know that they have a their gig. What is their scam? They have their scam, and then the scam's got to go sideways from the the whiteboard of it. And then the sideways wasn't interesting enough for me to pursue. So I'm gonna give it one more episode to get interested in the sideways. And it's kind of what happens to me. It's like, yeah, all right, I'll give it another go. That's what happened with Severance. I kept thinking.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
I kept thinking about it. I was like, I wonder what happens next.
Well, I'll tell you, Dope Thief sucked me in a lot faster than Severance. And it's not nearly as cerebral, there's not really like mystery and stuff. There are definitely some surprises from time to time. But for me, Dope Thief just seems more up my alley, a little more, more engaging. I was like, ooh, I can't wait. Whereas Severance, I was like, wait, what the hell?
Wait, he's kind of a Dark Knight. He's kind of a Dark Knight Robin Hood. I mean, he's a flawed character.
Yeah. Except he's not just robbing from the rich. He's robbing from the he's robbing from the evil.
He's robbing from the evil, and he's not enriching anyone else. He's trying to enrich himself. Right. I was trying to remember where I saw the main character played by I'm not the main character, the actor Brian Tyree Henry. And I remember he was in Bullet Train, and he was hilarious in that. He was one of the two guys that was, he was he was Lemon or whatever his name was. He was one of the guys accosting Brad Pitt, or I don't remember exactly how it happened, but he was one of those two guys. He was with Tangerine, Lemon and Tangerine.
Yeah.
I can't remember what he looked like in Bullet Train, but he was in that. He was Lemon. It was him and Tangerine, and they wanted to be the biggest hitmen or whatever, and they just weren't. It just wasn't working for them.
It's funny how many people really, really like that movie. My youngest daughter really, really likes that movie. I'm like,
Bullet Train?
Yeah.
I didn't expect to enjoy it. I for one thing, I'm not a huge Brad Pitt fan, but I enjoyed it. It was a fun movie. It was a really good movie. It might have helped that I had a couple beers that night. I don't know, but I enjoyed watching it. It's not, was it the greatest movie ever? No. Was it something worth watching over and over? No. But was it a fun movie? Yeah, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
Fun. I'd agree. It was fun. Did you watch Wolves? Not Wolves, but Wolves.
Yes, Wolves. Yes. Yep, I did. I enjoyed that one. Brad Pitt, George Clooney.
Oh, I didn't. My review of it was two charming guys who are no longer charming enough to pull off the stupid script. The script.
They're still charming. They're just not as good looking as they used to be.
They seemed tired in that movie, which I can relate to, but I'm also not starring in any movies for a reason.
George,
I don't know.
Look a little tired.
The plot seemed a little. I don't know. It was okay. It was all right. It was. If I had to choose between that or Bullet Train, 100%, I'd go with Bullet Train every single time.
Yeah. The kind of the willful suspense of disbelief. They're buddies.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The funniest part of it, of course, was the kid. Yeah,
when he's running away
in his socks and underwear.
Yeah. That was the only funny part.
I don't know. I run a lot. I never make noises like that when I'm running. It's like
you weren't
humming.
Peter, you don't go running on whatever he was running on.
Yeah.
I mean, but I have running barefoot shoes, which are not all that different than socks. So.
He wasn't feeling anything. That guy did not know who he was, where he was. All he knew was he wanted to be somewhere else fast.
Yeah.
But should we keep
So-
on this vein of what we're watching and stuff like
Yep.
that?
Oh yeah.
Go
Might
for
as well. So,
Peter, what are you watching right this second besides this Google Hangout?
No, right this second I'm just watching the Blurring the Friends podcast. So yeah, no. But
so last night we re-watched The Fall Guy on Amazon Prime. Have you watched The Fall Guy?
Okay.
With the new one?
no.
With,
No.
Oh, it's great.
Oh yes.
Ryan
Yeah,
Gosling?
yeah.
Yeah, Emily
a good
Blunt and what's his
It's a
name?
good movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, and it's on Prime, so you
Ryan
can watch
Gosling.
it. Ryan Gosling. And I guess it's free if you have Prime with a little commercial time. But
Is
yeah,
there
it's-
anybody better than Ryan Gosling at portraying the emotion of this is going to suck and I hate every second of it, but I'm doing it because it's what I got to do? And he's just so
Yeah.
good at that consigned attitude. It's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, he's good. They're both good. Him and Emily Blunt were both really good in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
It's
you're
funny.
the only one missing it, Peter.
Yep. You
I
gotta
will
watch
make
it.
a note.
It's
Mhm.
you're gonna think you won't like it because it's they picture it, they show it, it comes across as just like this romantic comedy thing, and you're like
Mhm.
whatever, but it's hilarious. It's really funny.
Well, and the cool thing is it's an action movie about movie, and so
Yeah.
there is so much really done. It was really done well. The action.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's not.
It was on my list of things to check out, but not high.
The
on
action is
priority
really
list.
well done, but it's not one of those movies where it just throws unbelievable action at you, and the only reason you would like it is if you're into action movies, and that's all. It's not like that at all. But
Yeah.
but the bonus is that the action is amazingly well done, and it's part of the story, but they don't make it the story. It's so good.
Mhm.
It really well done. Yeah.
Well, last night I watched Sicario for the second time around.
The first one
That's from
with Emily Blunt.
yeah, the first one, 2015.
That movie, when I first watched that, I thought it was my favorite movie ever. Just
Emily
because when
Blunt?
you're watching it, it sucks you in. That is intense.
And I watched it. So I watched it sometime after it had come out. I mean, it came out 10 years ago, right? So I had forgotten a lot. But all I remembered was like this joint operation between like the Texas Rangers, Delta Force, the FBI, like I was like, who brought all these people together again? And so I definitely had forgotten some of it, and I won't give anything away. But I was pleased to find out that there was a sequel that came out in 2018. So I'm putting that on my to-do list
Is
to
it a
watch
sequel
too.
or is it just I don't know if it's a sequel. It's the same Benicio
same
del
people.
Toro, but Emily Blunt's not in it. It doesn't carry out. It doesn't pick up where that story came from.
Huh.
What's his name
Does-
though?
does
Thanos
the-
is in it though.
It says Sicario #2 in 2018.
It's got Brolin and Benicio del Toro.
Yeah,
in
Brolin,
it.
Josh Brolin. Yeah,
And
I mean,
there's a number
that
3 in
sounds like a sequel.
2020.
But here's the thing. No. It's not a sequel though, because if you watch it, they come across as way more sympathetic and as good guys than they do in the first one. In the first one, both of those guys are undoubtedly evil. Like they wreck her, they destroy her, and they feel nothing about it except get out of our way because we are doing what we're doing. They're not like that in the second one. They're totally different people. In fact, Josh Brolin in particular is a totally different type of person. He is way more of a sympathetic character in that one than in the first one. You would say if she put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger, you would be rooting her on. Same with
It's funny.
Benicio del Toro. If she had killed him during that scene in her apartment, you would have been going, that was the right thing to do. But not in the second one. They're not like that.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I just Googled Sicario 2 and the first result, Sicario 2, Day of the Soldado. There's a Reddit link. Sicario 2 is one of the weirdest sequels I've ever seen. Sicario 2, in Bunny Rabbit ears, isn't a sequel. The writer made 2 scripts. That's probably why you don't understand it. They just wrote the second script.
Yeah, they're totally different people. They're not the same people. I mean, they're the same people, but they're not the same. They are not the evil, malignant. We're going to do everything, no matter what, no matter how many laws we have to break.
But there is a number 3.
We don't ever find
This-
their their names in the movie, right? In Sicario, in the first one.
I don't remember. They mention their
We
names.
just know
yeah.
one's Medellin and one's CIA, and that's all they know, right?
They mention their names.
And Josh
Who?
Brolin, I like him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
he
he's
was in the
pretty good.
Goonies.
Yeah.
He was also in the Avengers.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, it's Thanos.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Avengers. I mean, I don't know.
Good for
I know.
you, Adam. I'm with you. I like.
I'm not against it.
I'm against it. I wasn't, but then they kept making them, and 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 they made 25 in 1 year, and in the 25th
and that was just
one,
the Batmans.
right? And then they kill half the population of the Earth, including Iron Man. But then there's an alternate history. I don't even understand it. And even my daughter, who started off loving the Avengers, she was so sick of them by the time, she was like, I can't even do this anymore. And I was like, I know.
You can't kill Tony Stark. I mean, he's the best.
Right. But they did.
They did.
In one universe.
And they had big, chunky, drunk Thor, which was kind of funny, but it just went on forever.
Was it like
Thor.
It was like Fat Bastard?
Thor. Fat Bastard Thor.
Yeah. Mike Myers played him.
Oh, right. Fat. Get in my belly.
I want to eat your baby.
That was bad.
Anyway,
yeah.
We're done picking on your favorite movie of all time, Peter. But
so that's what I watched last night, and it was good. It was definitely better the second time around. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Yep. What about you, Adam? What you got? You rewatched something last night. What did you rewatch?
It was
Fall Guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That one was good. Well, and of course we love Ted Lasso.
Yep, Ted Lasso's good.
Yeah, we've watched the series 3 times now.
I'll tell you what movie I rewatched recently that I used to really love, and when I rewatched it, I realized I don't really like this movie, and that is To Live and Die in L.A., which is, when was it made? Sometime in the 80s? To Live and Die in L.A. 85. Do you remember the guy who became the original Grissom in CSI?
Yeah.
He's the main character. He's William Peterson. He's the FBI guy or whatever they are. Are they FBI or are they who are the guys who protect the president and do the treasury stuff?
Secret Service.
I think he was Secret Service. But William Dafoe is the bad guy. He's the counterfeiter.
Oh yeah.
William Dafoe is always good. He is just William Dafoe is funny. I saw an interview with him at one point. He was discussing his characters, and there's one character where he's just so outlandish and over the top. He's just grinning down at some guy, and they were like, "Did you feel like you were doing a little bit too much when you did that role?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "I have this really expressive face, and I just have to use it sometimes." But anyway, I rewatched this movie, and there was no one likable in it. They were all horrible. Rick Masters is the counterfeiter, and William Peterson plays this guy called Richard Chance, and he's just horrible. He just uses everybody. He's just insane. He does the craziest things to try to catch this counterfeiter, because the counterfeiter killed his partner right before his partner was due to retire.
Oh.
And so he just goes off the rails, and he just drags his new partner into a world of crap with him, and it's okay, but there was an amazing car scene where they're going the wrong way on a freeway. That was pretty good, and there was a couple other things that were pretty good. But all in all, I'm like, I don't know why I liked this as much as I did. It's just nothing redeemable about any of these people. So
speaking of 80s, last night we watched Moonlighting. The
whole thing?
No. Just the first episode of Moonlighting. Okay. Because it's on, I think it's on Prime, and I wondered if I haven't watched it since the 80s.
Right.
And we wondered if it still stood up. I don't know. It's still kind of up in the air. Noir and detective it kind of surpasses time because they're kind of the same. It
does, yeah. Right.
But the 80s stuff is really amusing. I'm like, what would have been awesome is if Prime, they have to add commercials. If they could have dropped the 80s commercials in there.
Oh yeah. You know what series did that was Mr. Robot. They would drop weird commercials in there every now and then they had one where the whole episode was framed as though it was an 80s sitcom because he was like out of his mind. and it was like Alf or something like that. It was hilarious.
Speaking of Mr. Robot, I want to see The Amateur, which opened yesterday in theaters.
Oh,
It's the new Rami
yeah.
Malek movie.
That does look
The
good.
critics gave it something like in the 60s, but the popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes was like 84, 85%. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I might try to catch that this weekend.
What?
So that's what I'm watching and what I'm gonna watch. There you go.
Nice.
I was looking at the Live and Die in LA, the IMDb. So John Turturro is in that apparently.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. He's good in that. He plays this total slimy guy. He's just so good at John Turturro is awesome.
Does his name mean torture?
Turturro. I don't know. It might be, but I always think of him. I always think of him in The Big Lebowski.
See, I don't remember much about that. I remember I started watching it and I was just like, I don't know about this because I'm not a Goodman fan and I'm not really much of a who's Jeff Bridges. Yeah.
Well, I really like The Big Lebowski. The Big Lebowski is I've had a crap week at work and I need my brain to stop thinking about work. So a beer and The Big Lebowski will take that all away.
The Beer Bowski.
The Beer Bowski.
There was when I worked at Intel, there was a guy who was just always saying sayings from the dude abides and all this other stuff, and I was like, get away from me.
Speaking of that, there's another Tron sequel.
What sequel?
Too.
Yes, Tron.
And number 3.
There is
number 3.
Yeah, I can't remember what they call it.
They Westworld it though, so this time the robot, the programs come into the real world.
Right. Yeah. I will watch that. I will say it's too bad that Daft Punk isn't doing the soundtrack again. I still listen to some of those songs. They're so good.
9 Inch Nails, I think they'll do okay. 9 Inch Nails is doing the soundtrack for it.
I'm not a Nin fan. I think they're so overrated. I know a guy who just loves 9 Inch Nails.
Aren't they from your area?
He's got a 9 Inch Nail for the 9 Inch Nail. What? I think they might be Seattle or I don't know where.
Yeah. Well, what I think is, I do like 9 Inch Nails, but in small doses. I don't want to listen to a day of them. But I've got some of my favorite songs. But I saw there was like Trent Reznor before 9 Inch Nails, and he was in this 80s. It was like watching Trent Reznor do Wham.
Yeah.
Wake me up before you go.
That's funny. 9 Inch Nails. Where are they from? Wikipedia. They were formed in Cleveland, Ohio. So no, they're not near me.
No.
They're closer to you than they are to me.
They're in the rock. They were trying to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is in Cleveland.
Why wouldn't they be? I would think they would be.
Are they
just because I don't like them? I'm not. Well, they're a kind of rock and roll. They're not. Rock and roll encompasses a lot of music.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you want to be. They're defined as an industrial rock band, so that's rock and roll. It's not typical rock and roll. It's not, Gibson or whoever would have pooped his pants if he would have heard them, but they are rock and roll. Yeah. And even though I don't like them, I totally recognize their contribution and their popularity. I would think they would be in there, or they could be in there.
What's funny is we had a truck when we were in Belize, and the windshield wipers went on, and I swear it was to the beat of Closer. So, I can't say the lyrics.
Yeah, who else? I see for some reason in my mind, and this is show you how dumb I am. For a while, I kept confusing 9 Inch Nails with what's the Australian one where the singer committed suicide?
In Excess?
Yeah.
In Excess?
Not.
What's the similarities there?
None. There is not. Except they have an
thank
in.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
would say I'd probably listen to Nine Inch Nails over In Excess, honestly.
what's funny is in the, when I was in high school, I pronounced that as inks.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, and you're not the only one.
Yeah, I was like, why do y'all like inks? It's In Excess.
Why do you like inks? Well, they're handy for drawing with.
Yeah.
We use them in art class. Peter's sending me
Oh, boy.
very disturbing memes, and I
sent it to Adam as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Why do we
Cool.
live in this
Well, that's what we
reality?
watch and what we're gonna watch.
Yep.
I just started this morning. Started reading Abundance, the new book by Ezra Klein, and I'm only in chapter 1, so I can't really give it a review just yet. But FYI, that's what I'm reading now.
Abundance.
So you talk about reading things. So I'm going to go back and read Foundation. Peter and I talked about Foundation on Apple.
Right. Yeah.
It really got better and interesting. It was slightly interesting. The cinematics were interesting. Some of the dynamics of some of the characters, I was like, I don't care, but it did get interesting. But I think I would like to go back and read the books. I mean, Asimov was really out there and also did some really good stuff. I think
I
I'd
will
like
say one thing though, and that is that Lee Pace, I never cared for him in Halt and Catch Fire. That was just something that I thought, nerds liked because it was nerdy and it wasn't really that great. It was okay. But Lee Pace is like a god as a emperor, you know what I mean? He is so good in that role. And he's just a physical specimen too. Like he is perfect for that part of that guy who just feels like he owns the universe and nobody should get in his way. He's just perfect.
Yeah, I look like that when I take my shirt off, but I'm not going to right now.
Right.
Not right now.
Right.
Maybe later.
Yeah.
I mean, Peter and I are like, we're like twins like that.
Oh, I see. You guys are always taking your shirts off together, comparing each
All
other's
that CrossFit, man.
Yeah. But that reminds me, though, Adam, speaking of that, there was one scene where I don't remember what they're doing to him. The doctors are doing something to him, and he's completely naked, and he just turns around and faces his underling completely naked, and he's enjoying the discomfort of the kid so much. Like the kid is like not wanting to look at him and kind of embarrassed or whatever, and he's just basically laughing in his face.
Yeah. So
behold my royal scepter.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good, I don't know. I like that show. I like Jared Harris's character. There are things not to like about it, but overall I think it's very well done. And I know that it's a divergence from the books and all, but I think that it's a well done divergence. I'm okay with, if they're done well, I'm okay with TV shows and movies diverging from a book, because if they're telling a slightly different story, that's fine. As long as they're done well, that's fine, because then you can enjoy both.
You know what is what a good story told indicator is when you somewhat empathize with the bad guy. Because I was towards the end, I'm like, well, no, I don't want Empire to be destroyed, or I don't want Empire to not, and he's clearly the bad guy.
Yeah.
So that's a good story when you're drawn into the bad guy.
But it helps that he has multiple stages of his life all at once, and so you empathize with those too. Like you definitely empathize with the younger guy who realizes that he is genetically different in some way, and what does that mean? That gives you empathy. And then the older guys, of course, you start having empathy because they're getting pushed out of the way. Yeah. But they're getting pushed out of the way, and they're starting to realize it, and they're a different character than they were when they were young, and they felt like they were a god. So it's gives
complex.
You empathy. Yeah, it's complex. You don't have to wait to see the same guy get older and see what he's going to be like before you realize there is change here, and you have a little bit of empathy. Yeah, it's good. It's really well done. But yeah, I should actually go back and read the books too. I have such a long reading list that I'm not getting to right now that I don't know when I would, but I would like to read the books.
But I read his stuff as a teenager, and so I'm like, I probably really enjoy this. So I'm gonna go back and go with them.
I'm putting this abundance on my reading list, Peter. This looks really good.
Mhm. So far, it's good. Again, like I said, I'm only in the first chapter, but still off to a good start.
Abundance. Ezra Klein. I don't know if I've ever read anything by Ezra Klein, have I?
He writes for, I think, The Atlantic and the New York Times.
Yeah. But I mean, he's written other books, right? Am I wrong?
I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
I don't think I've read any books by him, but yeah, he's a known character. I know who he is. I've read some stuff that he's written as far as paper, newspaper stuff or news related stuff, but not books. Abundance Klein. Interesting.
He's written a lot.
I'm sure he has.
There's 61 things in Wikipedia.
Wow.
So
That does sound like a lot.
Does sound like a lot of books.
Well, not all of them are books, but he's written some of it's political, some of it's
Yeah. Washington Post, American Prospect. Why We're Polarized. That's right. I remember reading about that book, but I didn't want to. I'm sure it's an important topic. I don't want to read about it.
Muzzle tough.
I'm not going to solve that problem. I don't want to think about it.
Well, on the topic of not thinking about things, should we not think about wrapping this up?
We should not think about wrapping this up because I have to not think about picking up my daughter pretty soon.
She will appreciate you picking her up, I think.
She will. She sent me a message saying that they're at the coffee shop across from school. They already checked out of school and they're over there at the coffee shop. So she lives a charmed life, my daughter. She has got the most amazing. I mean, if we could do it over again, none of us would send her to that school that she's at right now, or at least we would have taken her out for the senior year. But in general, she's got a much easier. She has a way of making her life way more fun than I remember it being when I was in high school. Of course, when we were kids, though, we had the benefit of being able to go anywhere and do anything at any time and not have to worry about, our parents didn't care where we were. We weren't on leashes and all that. So that was a difference too.
Yeah. I mean, my daughters, I know where they are at all times with their phones. And if they turn their phones off, they turn off their location. Why is your location off? I mean, that's as big as throwing up a flag. I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing. I mean, my parents didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
My best friend and I would go on Friday night, like right after school, and there was no alcohol. There was nothing nefarious about it. He and I would get our bikes, our fishing rods, and tackle box, and walk as far as we could until dark down the train tracks and camp there and fish along the river. And then we'd go the next day. And my parents had no idea where we were. We could have been eaten by hobos.
Yep. Or you could have eaten hobos.
Or we could have eaten hobos and they wouldn't even known.
There you go. Eating hobos. Oh, man. All right. So why don't I let each of you guys tell our listeners how they can find us?
I thought you were going to have a story about eating a hobo. I mean, the way you...
No,
That reminds me. One time in Poughkeepsie.
That was not a good meal.
My diet. I am not eating hobos anymore.
Indigestion. You want to talk about indigestion? You eat a hobo and you got some serious problems. All right, I'll start. And listener, if we would like your feedback, if you'd like to discuss a particular topic, you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. It should be interesting and not spammy, or it will end up in my junk filter. And if you want to find out more about our hosts, you got Peter Nikolaidis at yogawithpeter.com, friendswithbrews.com, Nikolaidis at infosec.exchange, Bluesky at peternikolaidis.com, and you can find me at rrlavenderfarm.com. And Scott, where can people find you?
scottwilsey.com.
Or
you can find me at sendmeamazonspam.com. Or that's where you can find Peter. If you want to find the Friends with Brews podcast, that's at friendswithbrews.com. But as Peter always says, you've already found us. So what are you doing? What are you even doing? That's Peter's question to you. So
What are
anyway,
you
don't.
What are you even doing? What are you even?
What are
Well,
you even?
Unlike Adam, I don't want your feedback and I don't want your topic suggestions.
Unless it's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, tell me something awesome.
Yeah. Tell me something awesome. All right. What, Peter? Thank you.
On that note, I'll do
Adam,
the honors and
thank
just
you.
hit everybody. Just hit the big red button.
It's a big rip.
Just
It's funny.
do
My note summary.
Tell your friends.
My note summary says, what's right in the middle is particularly memorable nude scene. I mean, he's talking about Lee Pace. Like, that's my. Apparently, sex sells even on Blurring the
Something-
Lines and Friends with
even on
Brews.
AI. Even AI.
AI thinks sex sells.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right,
Anyway.
guys. I
I'm
gotta
cooking
roll.
stuff.
I gotta